All right, guys, I'm going to try to do a quick market update video, just midweek, just because I think something big might come. And I'm going to try to get this under 15 minutes. I'm going to kind of go quick. So with SPY and QQQ, we have two theses here. We either defend this 50% fib right here for this being a wave 4 of 5 of 3, right? So if this is wave 5, this would complete a wave 5 for 3, in which we maybe rally to like July, August, and then we have a multi-month correction to wave 4, where we go down here, and then we rally into the election, right? Or this is completed, and we break under this 50% fib, and we eventually make our way down here in the next month or two, right? I'm going to go with the bullish thesis of this one until we start breaking under this. Last weekend, I did say that typically there's like a rounding bottom out that happens here, and that's what I'm looking for. I made a tweet earlier this morning that I thought we would have an ABC correction, and if we go, in the 1 hour, what's happening is we're already starting to have it. So tomorrow after the close, Microsoft and Google report. I think what we're going to do is we're going to open tomorrow and we're going to try to rally, and it's not going to get very far, and it's going to have an ABC correction, right? And then it's going to do this, and then Google and Microsoft are going to cause another sell-off, and then we're going to have another gap down. The thing is when this happens, to me, this is bullish if both drops are in aftermarket, causing low volume pullbacks, right? If that happens, I'm kind of bullish, right? So that's something to keep in mind. We also want to keep in mind, like, how good is the market breadth? Like, do we have good rotation? Like, even though Meta is down 16% and a bunch of mega caps are down 2, 3, 4%, overall, most mid caps are down less than 2%. What about some of the small caps? Some of the small caps aren't even doing anything. So to me, that's a good rotation as long as we don't get really heavy sell-offs, right? So that's something to keep in mind. That I'm really looking at this May June area for a super rally, and it's if we base here or if we sell off all the way down here, right? But as long as we keep and defend this low, I think there's going to be a rounded bottom that happens over the next a week or two during the mega cap earnings. Same thing with QQQ. This looks like a wave 4. As long as this 50% area right here is defended, which means we cannot make a lower low than the 413, in my opinion. If we make a lower low than the 413, then I'm going to be concerned about this not being a 5-wave structure and us going down here. Same thing with the top 6 chart, right? We hit this 50% fib and the 100-day moving average. We currently have this as a thesis, right? But if we start giving up this area right here, then it's possible we go down to this area. Now that's just the broader market. Now let's look at the mega caps just to kind of see what we're thinking. I mentioned that I thought the other 4 mega caps are going to go through correction. I think Apple and Tesla is going to lead the way, right? So far, even though mostly everything was red, Apple was not. Apple was one of the ones that defended itself, right? What happened here? A nice little curl. Now, given this ascending ADL line, there's been times where it curls before it. You see that? Now it's curled since 2019. They're really oversold, but it's curled twice here before. And I think that's very possible, especially if you look at like the Tesla Apple chart. What did that give us? Look at that. That's a beautiful curl off that. So far, Apple and Tesla are doing what we need to do. We need to see follow through though, right? I called this to be the bottom. What happened? Called this to be the bottom, got the bottom, and now we got a rally out of that, especially from Tesla. Now, the other ones, they all look sick, in my opinion. If I had to say, this is a head and shoulders, and this looks like a completed 5-wave structure. This couldn't be a wave 4 because we've already surpassed the 50% retracement. But I do think that this is wave 4 to the largest degree. I think maybe this is, maybe a wave 1, 2, 3. So what I'm looking for here is if we go to the weekly for AMD, it looks like historically on the daily that AMD has always went between the gold and purple line, 325, or just right on the gold, right? Right on the gold, right on the gold, between it, and then between it. So I'm going to say we bought them somewhere in this area, right? What does that offer us? That offers us the 56% retracement right under the wave 5, which I could see happening. I see a ABC structure here, right? The fibs extension for this wave A is for this area of 126, 127 area, which would fit the description of falling in this. So I think AMD as a longer term trade could be a buy opportunity in this area, and we can follow up with that, right? But up to this point, I think that we're going to get another sell off, right? That would probably align with this demand zone on the ADL line, because if you look, if we give up this demand zone, there's not really any structure until all the way down here. So I'm going to assume if we get into this demand zone and it falls into this structure or this structure, that's going to give me a bias that that's happening, right? So I'm going to look for that. That's AMD. It's okay. Amazon. Amazon also looks the same, right? Now it's a little hard to see which wave we're on, but historically, or at least right here, it's the 200-day moving average is the trend. So what I'm thinking is, right now we're having a rejection. I think this is the beginning of an ABC structure for sure. And then this reports next Tuesday, which could cause more blood. I think this is going to sell off. And if this is wave 4, we're going to stop at this 50% retracement, which should be in this area, right? Where would that be? Right at the 200-day moving average, which is where it was defended before. What kind of drop is that? 14% drop from here. I think that's very possible. Now, if we drop here and we rally, it could be wave 5 where we take the gold path, or we need to actually go down here because it's a completed 5-wave structure, and we do an ABC structure where we go halfway up and then all the way down. Regardless, I believe that we are going to find a reaction here, and we're going to reverse here, which would, if all this happens in the next 2-3 weeks with all the earnings, I think it's going to lead to our rally in May, maybe June. Google, I'm not even going to act like I even know anything about this chart. This chart's not giving me anything. I don't have any signs. It's been very clunky and consolidated. It looks like, since this whole rally, it's dipped between the 100 and 200. So that would be an idea. But, for all I know, like Google could be the one that rallies, right? So I'm not even going to act like I know this chart. We're just going to see what happens. All I do know is they do report tomorrow after the close. Okay. Meta, I warned of this thing looking like it was going to fall off a cliff, right? And, it's very confusing on what kind of structure all this is. I think it's possible that this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's the case, it would need to defend this 50% retracement. This 385, in my opinion, 385 to 400 area needs to defend it, right? For this to be wave 4, which could see wave 5, which could take us back up to 500. What's funny is, also, if we look, where did it defend? In this area, right? Historically, where does it defend? 100, 200, right? 100, 200. Let's see a really good uptrend. 100, 200, 100, 200. So around the blue gold line, right, for the most part, if the trend is still upward. Where are we at? We're literally between 100 and 200. It was defended here. The 50% retracement is here. There's demand here. Now, this is the funny thing. Look at this. This is what I said in my tweet. Did they really just drop this to the buy zone in like a 1 hour candle? 2 hours of candles, right? Like that's a huge bullish divergence to where they literally already dropped it. Now, given I think they'll spend 1 or 2 weeks down here just accumulating shares. But as long as we defend, like this is a buy zone right here. This is technically a buy zone, right? And if we were prepared for this in after hours, we could have bought this. And if we would have bought in this buy zone, it's up 4% just from there, but that's nothing to brag about. But I do think as long as this 385 is defended, that this could be wave 4, correcting to where we see a wave 5. So when 385 is such a strong line in the sand, it's a risk to reward, right? You let it drop back down here and you enter around 395, and literally if the price prints under like 384, you know, and then you look for 450, let's say that's 14 to 3. That's a 5 to 1 uh, ratio. So, I think that's crazy. But I do think that this is possibly what happened today. Now, if this is a completed 5-wave structure, then, you know, um, we could be going into this area, into the low 300s. But I actually think it's very possible that that we're going to defend this, especially when we already have a trend. We already have previous trends showing this. We have demand zone. We have the 50% fib. Like, it's funny that they literally dropped this completely, and I think everyone's going to get bearish on it, and this might be one of the ones that actually rally again. So this could already be basing for the next 2 weeks while they decimate the other mega caps, and then accumulating, and then it rallies with Apple and Tesla first, since it's one of the first ones to get decimated. Same thing with Microsoft. So there's two scenarios here. It's possible that right now it's currently bouncing off of this being a wave 4, and we could rally. So this is the bearish case. But if Microsoft beats earnings, it could be the one that leads the rally tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if like either Google or Microsoft, one of them rally and one of them does not. But right now, as long as we defend 394, it's possible this is wave 5 and it goes higher. Now, if it gives up 394, then this is not a wave 4. And then we're going to go down to this being a wave 4, in which I think it would be defended here, right? Which is what the ABC structure would be. This is a massive monthly demand zone. This is also the 100 and 200. Let's see if we have any history here. 100 and 200 defended, right? 100 and 200 defended here, even for a little counter trend rally. Overall, this entire rally was defended by the 100. Overall, this rally was defended by the 100. Overall, so the 100 seems to be Microsoft's favorite. So where would that put us? All right. Oh, well, I'll be damned if, we're bouncing off the 50% fib and the 100. So based on what I just looked at, I'm going to actually say that Microsoft is the one that rallies and Google is the one that doesn't. I could be wrong. 394 would be the line in the sand, right? But based on what we just seen, it looks like that this might be what it is, right? Maybe this is a 1, 2. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I think this is 1, 2. I think this is 3, but we haven't finished wave 3 yet. So then this would be like a 1, 2, and then this is a microwave 3, and then we're going to rally up here, and then we'll correct. Could be, but if not, then this sells off too. Netflix, historically, I did the 200 and 325 there. Anything else? The 325, the 100 and 200 here, the 100 and 200 here, the 200 and 325. I currently have this as a possible finished 5-wave structure. I think this is the line in the sand. It's already attempting to respect this 50% retracement in the 100-day moving average. If it's going to defend it, it has to be right here. If it gives up this 535 area, then I think we're going to knife drop down under 500. And all of this volatility could be money going out. But even if we go down here, I think this is ultimately for a rally that goes higher. NVIDIA, ABC correction. I called this backtest. We had it, and today we literally just had an engulfing candle. I think this is the B wave right here. Right? I'm pretty sure that's already the B wave. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sell off down into probably this demand zone, which would be 50% retracement. Now, it's possible with NVIDIA's strength that this 38% could defend itself. NVIDIA doesn't report till May 22nd. I'm going to say that NVIDIA's correction is going to happen before the earnings, and then the earnings is going to make it rocket. What do we see here? It surprisingly defended this. If it doesn't defend this and it gives us up, like the thing is, I think it's going to be very clear when the bottom is in because there's no structure in the ADL line. So if this doesn't get defended, then we go down here. If we start putting under this, then there's no structure until down here, right? And wherever these important levels hit with the ADL line hitting these demand zones, I think is going to tell us where NVIDIA stops. But overall, most of these still look like they have another leg down. So we have to be careful. What about Tesla? Tesla, 15% gap up. We closed up 12% today. This is a doji candle. This isn't exactly what I wanted to see. You know, for my extreme bearish bias, I wanted to see this go straight up. If it would have been straight up like this, I would have been extremely bullish. But the thing is, like, we have a curl down, and it's never done that on this, which makes me extremely concerned. We need another day to prove itself, but that makes me really uncomfortable, to be honest. Now, given it's technically essentially still being supported by the ascending line, and it didn't make a lower low. This morning, it was literally down here, right? And that was bearish. If we would have closed here, like near here, I would have closed my position today, but we didn't. So this is like higher low type scenario, still supporting the ascending line, but not in the clear like one of these. Like I wanted to see an extension to straight up. If that happened, I would have been so bullish, but it wasn't. So we have to be mindful of that, right? Is there anything else? I think it's very possible that a lot of volatility comes in this next 2 weeks, which means strong swings in both directions. So we need to be mindful of that. Right now, Bitcoin's selling off. We really wanted to get above this 20-day moving average. Rejecting here is kind of strong. It's kind of weak here. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, what could happen is this weekend we go up here and then we reject next week. And then this A, B, C, D, E pattern plays out. Or if this rejection is here, this could be an A, B, C, and we go down to this 50% retracement. So we need to be mindful that this actually could happen this next week, right? Because this looks like an A at this point until we get higher. This could be an ABC right here, right? So this could be an ABC. Right? So it could be like that. I'm gonna, right here is a major rejection point for Riot. I would not be surprised if we pull back 20, 30%, because this is it literally did what I warned. It rallied 62%, right? And we got stopped at this 200-day moving average, which is a key level where shorts will step in, and that's a rejection candle. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of these pull back. So if you haven't trimmed at all, make sure you trim some. I trimmed early, so I'm kind of comfortable with the amount that I have in the account currently. So I'm just going to hold and just let the structure build over the next 2 weeks and see what happens. As we get closer to that May 10th area, I'm going to see what's happening, and then I'll make more plays based on that. But this 100% looks like a wave 5. This did exactly. So, like, I don't think that ABC structure is happening, right? And I don't think this is happening. I'm going to say that this is wave 5. Now, given if this is wave 5, we're still going to see a pullback. Like this could pull back like this. But essentially, I think CLSK is probably going over $30. This is for sure looks like it's playing out, which also gives a bullish bias to the other one. Now, given even, man, I could be wrong. I just saw this. Yeah, so that could happen. Need to be careful of that. So scratch what I just said, because that could be the case. That'd be crazy if so. So let me go ahead and put that back and then look at that chart later, to be honest, because that could just be a bigger B wave. Yeah, let's do that. Scratch that. Make sure you take profit. Make sure you trim if you haven't trimmed at all. Everything's up handsomely, and I do expect some type of pullback, and all the mega caps are pointing out a pullback, right? So make sure you trim. Make sure you have cash. Trim up here. Don't wait for us to drop 20% and you get panicky and sell at a low. All right. Cheers.